Do you even remember what that character was?
I don't. I just assume you're annoyed by most of my characters.
Oh, that's what you feel these days now.
It's true.
You think I've turned on you? No, this one was. I
don't think you've turned on me. I think it's always been like that.
I can find
my characters.
I can find the date of the show because I know when I sent the text. Right, 12/7.
Okay, got it.
So let's go to the podcast on 12/7.
Going on with Greg. He's like in the text thread. He's saying he doesn't like what we're doing.
I was like, oh shit.
But seriously, like, why are these movies obsessed with this now?
Why are they rewarding toxic behavior in these Christmas movies?
All right, it's fine.
Like, so annoying, though.
So you write articles when you notice things about society that you don't
like. Like, why, though? Are, like, so many doors?
Well, it's not that bad.
I feel as though that there was it kept crescendoing. I just wanted to bring that in since last week.
It did.
Since last week we had day crescendo. I wanted to bring in.
Good job. You did it. Sorry for my low energy. I'm sick. Because I was just coughing all night long. It like kept me up. And I was like miserable and like wanting to sleep, but then I just couldn't. You know what I mean? It's horrible. So I took a nap this afternoon, but.
Sensitive.
Yeah, I'm sick.
That's a good of coffee.
Look, see this?
What am I looking at? What, did you punch something?
No, I shaved like a chunk off of my knuckle.
How did you do this?
With a, what's it called? That
mandolin?
Mandolin. Thank you. With a mandolin. Ooh, and I had to look underneath the blade for the chunk of skin that came off, and I saw it, and I had to get rid of it. It was so gross.
Well, Lisa didn't make it into your sliced carrots or potato.
Cucumbers.
Cucumber.
Yeah, and man, it would not stop bleeding. So I made I put 2 Band-Aids around it, and then I taped 3 toothpicks together, and then I taped that to my finger to make like a
splint.
A splint. It really worked. It helped me like all night long. I use bacitracin. I don't use Neosporin.
Oh my God.
Bacitracin's so much better.
You may as well drink Pepsi.
Yeah. So I didn't put anything on there, so it kind of like healed a little bit onto the Band-Aid pad. So then when I peeled it off this morning, I had to like rip it, and it reopened it. I was like, ugh.
You're something else. A bacitracin girl.
Yeah, here, see? Bacitracin.
Next thing you're going to tell me is you pee sitting down.
This is called the original ointment. So it's probably better than Neosporin. Neosporin just got a good publicist.
They teamed up with Band-Aid.
Yeah, with Band-Aid. And then like every Band-Aid was like, Band-Aids and Neosporin go together like peanut butter and chocolate.
Going back
Oreos and milk.
to peeing sitting down, don't you think it's ridiculous that dudes think that it's manly to stand up and pee?
It's odd.
Like
that is kind of it'd be interesting to come up with the sort of fringes of masculinity of things that are on the cusp of like what's masculine for
I always pee standing up.
Yeah, pee sitting down like a bitch. What the fuck? Why?
I mean, I understand that peeing standing up is something that is masculine because it is difficult for women to do. But on the flip side, yeah, of course.
And I have good aim.
Runs
I
down
go right in that drain.
Runs down your leg.
It doesn't.
Well, sitting down peeing.
Especially if you spread.
As a man, I don't find it to be womanly. I find it to be relaxing.
I told Pete, because he likes to pee. He does both. But when he does pee standing up, he likes to drip on the toilet seat.
Yeah, exactly. You have to wipe it up or you don't wipe it up.
Oh, and he wasn't wiping it. And so I was like, listen, if you don't wipe it up, I was like, if you stand up, then you have to wipe. You have to wipe the seat.
It is a large hole, even with the seat down. You would think that it wouldn't be too difficult to not pee on the toilet seat.
Yeah.
But it is. You wake up in the morning. This is why in the morning I sit down, because it sprays in 2 different directions quite often.
Yeah.
And then, near the end, you don't know. You don't know where it's going to go.
Little drips. That's the part that would run down a woman's leg if she was, but yours is just sticking out.
Of course he pees sitting down. With a puss.
Oh, another one is like people that are either like men who are either circumcised or uncircumcised, and then their son being a different circumcision choice. Like, I want my son to have the same dick as me.
Is that a thing? Is that a real thing?
Yeah, so like people who don't want to have their son, who are circumcised, right? And then they have a son, and then their partner or whatever doesn't want to get them circumcised. So like, well, I don't know, I have to have the same as me. Or they're going to be confused when they grow.
I don't know if they'll be confused, but they'll probably be embarrassed.
Nah.
Then they'll have that cheese they need to clean out. I was just at Paisano's, the butcher, and I was thinking about the different cheeses they had there, and if they had
it's the same thing that's in the folds of a woman. It's the same exact
block
thing.
of dick cheese.
It's not a big deal.
$14.99 a pound.
No, I don't like that the continuing sort of false narrative of there's so much cheese that has to be taken. It's the same thing as women. Women have the same thing.
You're so defensive of it, though.
Because I mean, listen, if you have a real reason, like if your reason is there are no circumcised men who have gotten like penile cancer, which is true. Only uncircumcised males have had this specific type of cancer. That's an argument. But to say like, the cheese, it's stupid.
I think it's ridiculous, like, for me to have an opinion. I don't have a kid, so what the hell do I care? Yeah. One way or the other. I don't feel as though I'm better than anyone. But I must say that I'm glad that there's been the procedure. Yeah. I don't even remember it. I'm such a small child. I have no clue.
Lots of people don't remember trauma.
This is what you like to return to. Well, this is one that even if there is embedded, unresolved
you do have some anxieties.
Trauma. Yeah, it's not from that.
How do you know? Can't prove that.
I guess there's no way to actually prove it, but no, I would, being around my mother even more, I think the anxiety comes from there. So I went to Paisano's where they have the dick cheese for $14.99 a pound.
Does it come in a wheel or a tube? Awesome.
Well, it's kind of like feta, so it comes in a wet pack. Like tofu.
Okay, like a block.
Yeah, tofu. It's a block, actually.
Okay.
And it's got some wetness to keep it moist.
Which one do you like? Do you like the firm? The soft?
Smoked.
Smoked.
Give it to me smoked. No, I actually went there, though, and got a sandwich. And I don't think they were too happy with me.
Why?
It's like, hey, can I get this, whatever the name of the sandwich, they have the different names. And like, can I get this Smith Street or whatever it was? Like, because, when you're a butcher and you work in a real butchery, you want to be taking care of the important cuts of meat. You don't want to be wasting your time making a sandwich. That's for the plebes to make sandwiches.
I see. So you went into a place that is a butcher.
Well, they advertise their sandwiches, and they the greatest sandwiches around.
Oh, well then.
But they don't want to make it. The only thing they hate worse is cold cuts, because I got the cold cuts there once, and the guy that I ordered the cold cuts from, I saw him at some point cutting some other slab of meat, and I didn't know what was going on, and then just some low-level staffer brought me my cold cuts. So obviously I ordered with this guy, but he was too big time to cut the cold cuts.
Oh, he's like, I don't cut cold cuts.
He passed it off. And then I got anxious and didn't go in again for months.
You never know. I mean, stuff like that might not have anything to do with you.
They just want to sell the meats. You want to be at the top of your game. You want to talk to a person about the different cuts and the bone in or the bone out, or the ways to prepare it. And then you want to show off your skill. You want that T-bone? I'll give you the perfect thickness. Look at this slice, this cut. It's at a bias.
They hold it in that very specific, like, butchery way where they hold it out in front of them.
And they show it to you. It's like a work of art.
They show it. Mm-hmm.
They present it. This is what they do.
Yes.
They don't present cold cuts, boar's head, What's the bologna with cubes of fat in it? Mortadella? Mortadello?
That's bologna. Mortadelle.
I think it's bologna with cubes of fat. It's actually very good.
Ew.
I know it sounds disgusting, but I had someone made me a sandwich with it on
They
there.
cook with it? Because I feel like that would be a way for it to redeem itself, is to be cooked.
No, it's a
you
cold
know?
cut.
Yeah,
I mean,
know,
people
but, like,
make-
with the globs of fat, like it would help cook it in this cool way, maybe.
People make fried bologna sandwiches, so I guess you could fry that up if you like.
Yeah, my dad made me that once. It was really greasy and delicious.
The radiator's starting up.
Radiator's starting. Did you download that podcast I was telling you about?
No, I haven't downloaded that podcast that you recommended for $5 yet. Can you should, here's what you should do. You have a subscription, right?
Yeah.
How can you
Do you
share
want
it?
my username?
Yeah, maybe I can jump in that way.
Sure, you can do that.
I can steal
I don't
from
know.
them.
That's true. They are just a small time little podcast. Maybe you should just give them $5.
Yeah, Zencaster reached out and was interested in. When I speak, you can hear the radiator, right? I have a noise gate on.
Barely.
All right. Well, I have a noise gate on my microphone, so when I don't speak, it cuts out all sound.
No, it really is not bad at all. It's like a tiny little bit.
Okay. So it's
Yeah,
not.
don't worry.
But I hear when I start speaking, then it's picking.
I can
something
too,
up.
but like I said, it's small.
Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, Zencaster reached out and said, "Hey, would you like to start advertising? Here's our program. Sign up for it." And I did. And then I put in like some of the numbers that we have for our downloads, and I didn't lie about it. And then they wrote back and someone's interested. Can you send us a screenshot of your numbers? And I did, and I never heard from them again. I guess we're not big time enough.
Well, people are, having COVID. You never know. Might not be us. Might
Here it
be
is.
like short staff.
Yeah, Tariq wrote me. Thanks so much for your interest in running ads in January. Would you mind confirming your download numbers for the past 30 days or sending us a screenshot of those numbers from your podcast hosting site? And I said, sure, here's a screenshot. And then we got this.
Just said that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I used a rim shot and got a laugh from it.
Yeah, it was real. It was a good way to use it.
One of the old played out jokes. They still hold value, I guess, if you use them correctly. All right, we can move into the show. What's the topic?
I guess it's my piercing.
Is that really what the topic is?
I don't know because I don't have a topic.
So we'll talk about your
Okay.
your middle age crisis.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
not that.
Bleh.
Welcome to One Topic, where we stick to one topic. My name is Autumn Fisher.
My name is Greg Russ, and
Woo!
we have a topic that, what is it, midlife crisis?
Well, I mean that's on the table.
Are you having a midlife crisis?
Right, and I really don't think I am. I've been thinking about it, and it's been on my radar, but I don't think so. And we can talk about why we are saying that, and it's because I got my nose pierced, got the septum pierced.
At 39 years old.
Yeah, and yeah, I have been saying that I've been wanting it for a long time, so it wasn't an impulsive decision. How
long? How long is long? When did you decide you wanted your septum pierced?
It's been months and months because I remember I told.
But not years and years.
No, not years and years. It's been like, I remember it being warm outside. This is my problem is I never remember like months, when things happen. But I remember I was out with my friend, and we went to get drinks out on a patio. So it was still really nice outside. You know what I mean? So, and before that, I had talked about getting one. Okay, so this one day, I was meeting her out in Annapolis, and I realized that I had an earring in my pocket that I must have taken out, at some other point in my life, and I left it in my pocket of my jacket. And so it was a little ring, so I put it up my nose the way that I would get the piercing, and I wore it to meet her, and she didn't notice it. And so as we were walking, I like took it out like secretly. And then later I was like, did you see that? I was like, I tried to wear that as my nose piercing. She was like, yeah, I just couldn't tell if it was like what was going on. So I don't know. That's like a time stamp for me that I had been wanting it since at least then, some warm weather.
What was initially the first thought? I want this. I need this. Were you watching some teen drama on MTV?
Absolutely not. I don't know. I think I just had the earring and I thought, oh, this will be kind of funny. I'll just put it there and see what it looks like. And I was like, oh, I kind of like that. And then I think there's an app. No, there's a filter on one of those things where it's like you can tap the screen and it will put like different piercings on you, like eyebrow, the nose, the side one, the septum, the lip, the dimple ones, and there's a thing that people do where they make it go on random, and then like the thing is that you're supposed to get whatever piercing comes up randomly. But anyway, so I looked at myself with that and I was like, no, I like that. And so months and months go by, and it's right before Christmas, and I just do it. I just did it. I just did it. I looked up on Reddit places in Maryland to get pierced. And some people had some bad experiences at this place.
At Claire's?
They all said, absolutely not. They said, go to this place instead because they fixed this problem I had. And
what's wrong with Claire's, by the way? Hold on. When we're getting... Claire's was fine. They were well known and established.
Claire's is garbage.
Why?
Because the people that are trained to pierce those ears, first of all, they're using a gun, that gun thing. It's not accurate.
So they're children, you're saying?
Well, they probably are. Who works at Claire's? Not experienced.
Well, I do think
anyone.
I think about when we were younger, the minimum wage. Like when I worked at Pacific Sunwear in 1999 or 98, minimum wage was $5.15 an hour.
Oh, I thought it was like $7.50.
No, whatever it was, I was not making that
low,
much.
$5 something maybe, yeah.
So I have to assume someone working at Claire's is probably making the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no one. People that work at Claire's are not experienced at much.
Poke a hole in my body.
Sure,
You get paid $5 an hour.
They can't do like cartilage. They can do your lobes, but they can't do anything else.
Oh, they could do How dare you? What's
they can't
the difference?
you can't use that gun to go through cartilage.
You can use the gun to go through cartilage.
You don't know what you're talking about. So anyway,
you ever see how easy it is to spear a shark? Very simple. The whole thing's cartilage. It's not that difficult.
You're not trying to be super accurate.
You ever see when they're
trying to spear a shark?
When they tag a shark's fin?
Their fin isn't cartilage.
That's what they use. Is they use one of those piercing guns.
Shut the fuck up.
They do. Before they retire the piercing gun, it goes to tag sharks in the wild.
So Claire was actually the daughter of like some seaman.
Sure.
So
the fin, by the way, is purely cartilage.
Weird.
On a shark. It has no nutritional value, even though people eat shark fin soup.
Shark fin soup.
It's just
for
there.
Vitality.
Though I do have to say, I got some Vietnamese soup, pho.
Love pho.
And this version came with the thinly sliced beef, some brisket, and then cartilage.
Did you like the cartilage?
I threw it away. I didn't.
Yeah, I don't love cartilage.
I didn't want to taste it.
Do you ever eat the cartilage when you're eating a chicken bone?
No,
like
I don't.
Chicken wing?
I don't like it. I don't want it.
Oh, sometimes I just crunch through it and keep going.
Though I hear, if you cook the cartilage for a very long time, it becomes soft and people like it. It tastes.
But at that
something.
point, isn't it just absorbing whatever flavor you're putting near it? So it could just be anything.
Sure, but it's velvety and smooth. And with chicken, no way. Those people where they put a whole wing in their mouth and then the bone emerges clean.
That's so impressive, though.
No, it's not. You know what's impressive? Tying a cherry stem into a knot with your tongue.
I'm impressed by both of those people. Maybe the man who pulls the chicken wing out of his mouth and it just comes out the bone, and then the woman who ties the cherry stem, or maybe vice versa, whatever. Throw it in a hat and mix it up. Those two people belong together.
Hey, I can tie the cherry stem.
I can't take the wing out.
I did- I-
just the bone.
I did it recently at a tiki bar. They put a cherry in a drink, and I tied it because I have that.
And then
kind of
all the
skill.
women flocked to you that night. Ah!
Yeah, I mean it's not a manly thing to do. A manly thing is to eat the cartilage on a chicken wing, but that's a man of.
But
brute.
no, but it shows that you're good with your tongue.
I understand what it shows, but if you're comparing the two, there's finesse with the cherry stem, and then the man with the chicken wing, he's just brute force. He's jackhammer. That's what you're gonna get with that guy, and you get some sensitivity, some finesse, some thought, some skill.
All right, so you want the woman to be like the person eating the chicken wing.
No, I don't want anyone to be eating the whole chicken wing because some of that shouldn't.
What
be
if she's
eaten.
Asian?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because Asians seem to, well, maybe not just Asians, but maybe some like other country, like they'll eat more of
Okay, fine
the
then.
animal than we do.
Because that's what they're used to doing. Fine. It's just
Yeah,
a
so you're
weird,
like, cool, badass, you can do that.
it's a weird thing to bring up.
It's not
Yes.
normal thing.
It's like you're
All
trying
right, so listen,
you're trying
I
to
didn't get,
hold on, you're trying to corner me. It's like, oh, well, what about an Asian person? It's part of their culture. You're gonna go against the culture?
no, absolutely.
That's exactly what that move was.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
right. I give a shit about anything like
That's
that.
what that was.
It absolutely was not.
Hold
I
on,
was saying
just-
like it might be different than like a white trash woman who's like eating part all the chicken bone. You know what I mean? Like that's weird. But if you see like an Asian chick do it, I'm like badass.
Give me the hog snout.
See what I mean? Like it's different. That's the reason why I would bring it up, not because of any sort of weird. I'm trying to corner you as a racist. Get
Okay.
the fuck out.
Well, I would like to say that
Sorry,
I pee sitting down and I can tie a cherry stem into a knot.
pussy.
My tongue.
And you watch Sex in the City, and you're watching and just like that. You
Yes, of course. And just like that.
did you watch the new episode
No.
in the kitchen?
No, I have not seen the new episode.
Oh, what are you doing?
We're going to get that's a discussion for later. So anyway, getting back to you
So yeah, a shark pierced my nose.
you deciding not to go to Claire's because they need special hand tool, right? Or they use a needle. They use a needle and a guide. Is that what it is?
Yes,
It's like
I
a
did.
knitting needle. That's sharper.
No. Yes, but I think it might have a hole. It might be hollow, right? And then
Oh yeah, that's how they
tube.
that's how they do the Prince Albert. I watched a guy who I didn't know get a Prince Albert once.
Yeah, so they put the tube
got-
on one side of the nostril.
I got on my knee.
Oh, you got real in there.
Well, we were in Florida on spring break. Me and my friend Kent, and you know Kent, and
Yeah.
we just you meet people when you're on spring break. We met this guy's like, I'm gonna get my dick pierced, and then we went and we just watched. But they take the tube that's hollow, and they put it in the urethra, and then
Did he complain at that point of like
I don't
being uncomfortable?
I was just like, whoa, and because then there's a hole in the tube also on on the side of it, and that's how they
Yeah.
connect it.
So I sent you a video of my nose getting pierced.
Now you took it. Who took the video?
Another person there. I asked her to take the video.
And she said, "Sure thing, Mama."
She did. But yeah, so they put a sort of like a hollow tube on one side and the needle on the other. And then
Sorry, I like the way they throw this cloth over your face.
it's actually pretty cool. Like piercing is so different now. At least at this place, it was super professional.
I know nothing about it because I've never had.
It used to
anything
just be
pierced.
like they pierce you and they send you on your way. This place like put that like cloth over my nose to make sure that nothing else gets contaminated.
Oof! Look at this.
Yeah.
I can see you wince in pain.
Yeah, it hurt a lot.
I'm sure.
And then they clean everything in front of you. They put it in that autoclave and they put a test strip in there to show you that like if it comes out and the test strip says this, then it's not clean and we do it again. And
Oh,
if
that's
it
all they
does,
do?
then
I thought they turned on a gas burner, a stovetop, and they just held
just
it
heat
there.
up the noodle.
Look at
The
that.
needle, I mean.
Look at it. I'm burning it. That's what
So
I.
yeah, it was
That's what I did with some scissors before I cut off a mole once. I got drunk and iced it up, and then took some scissors and pulled the mole out and just snip.
wait, you said you iced it up? Oh, you iced up the mole.
Yeah, I got drunk.
And
I
then but
iced
you
up the mole.
heated up some scissors.
I heated up the scissors to kill the bacteria. I iced
Uh-huh.
up the area to numb it, and I drank to alleviate my fear. And then that thing
Yeah.
fucking bled and bled and bled and bled.
Did the mole go away?
Yeah, it's gone.
Oh.
It was more of a skin tag, I think, on my waist where, the waistband
Where your-
rubs.
Isn't that weird how that happens?
It just grows.
Yeah.
I mean, some people get them in the folds of their eyes, which are harder to remove. I guess you can't.
I
But,
bet.
yeah, you don't want to fuck around with stuff in your
Plastic
eyes.
surgery, maybe, not just like a general doctor.
Anyway, I'm interrupting. I'm sorry. So I watched the video continue because it's a thing.
Yeah.
to say the
So
least. It's a thing.
I got it done. I was really happy with it. It's a little it sits up a little too high. So it's like natural placement where it sits is a little bit like you can only barely see the little balls at the end.
Well, that's
so
good because you're
once-
hiding it from a lot of people in your life.
I'm not hiding it.
You're hiding it from a few people.
Who?
Did it ever come out that you got it on the show? You didn't want it to come out on the radio show,
Oh, just because I felt like Eric's was going to give me a ton of shit for it.
which he would.
Yeah, he's. Let me just mark the date. The
What's
thing
wrong
that
with
he'll-
you drunk, slutty, midlife crisis?
Well, part of the, that's a
Skank.
grab bag that he'll pull from. But I think what he'll say is that he's going to know what's going on with me better than I know what's going on with me. And he'll tell me that it's like, I've gone crazy or I'm in this midlife crisis, which is what I'd like to talk about here.
I'm going
I
to call you
did-
out. I'm going to say, hey, see Autumn's nose? Look at her nose.
I did think about it. I did think like,
Hold on. This is what made you think about it. Getting the piercing. Out of everything that's happened over the past couple of years in your life, it's the piercing.
no, of course not. I, of course, thought about those things. You're kind of being a little nasty.
You shut me down.
Well, it felt like it keeps feeling like,
I think
I'm
you're just,
sensitive, maybe.
I think you're
I'm
being
not feeling well.
sensitive. I'm not being nasty.
All right, I'm sorry. I just feel sensitive, maybe.
I already told
Maybe
you
you
my
need to
thoughts
be
on it. I
sweet
don't
to
give
me.
it. You know my thoughts on it is I don't give a shit. People can do whatever that they want.
I know, but it's. I'm trying to explain. So, listen, I'm sensitive. It's
I
fine.
think you wanted it. You got it. It's cool. You did it.
Yeah, but listen, my point is like, yes, of course I've thought about. See, that's what I mean. Like, yes, of course I've thought about whether I'm having a midlife crisis. I mean, I am happier now. But yeah, I've thought about all the kinds of stuff that I've been doing and making sure, like, just paying attention to it and saying. I talked about it in therapy, and she was like, "Well, you don't seem in crisis." So I was like, "Oh, that's true. I'm not like freaking out." So I feel good about what I'm doing. The nose piercing, I mean, if you think about my life, I've got tattoos. I've gotten tattoos.
But you don't like them.
I'm okay with them now.
I've come back
All right.
around.
Yeah, I'm all right.
What do your kids think? They poke them?
No, they don't even notice. They think the nose is kind of funny. But they're over that too.
That's going to
So,
come up in their therapy sessions. I
but
don't know,
listen,
my
hold on,
mom
but
got a
I've-
piercing at 40.
I got, my belly button was pierced a long time ago. I had my tongue pierced. This isn't anything really new for me. It's more like the old me. It really is like more of my personality. I just think it hasn't been my personality in many years because I was like maybe not living as
You were,
authentically,
yeah, you sacrificed your being
I did.
for society.
For something, I think it just sort of like a plant that died, and now I'm rewatering that plant and someone's looking at me like, oh, you care so much about that plant now? Like, what are you, 40? Like, I guess, I don't know.
I don't know. It's more like Groot. I know you don't watch these movies. Groot died,
I know about Groot.
but then they replanted part of Groot. So it's Groot, but it's not Groot, but it is Groot. So-
Sure. I mean, I'm not trying to live as like the same way that I did before. Obviously, I'm using wisdom and maturity to guide me, but
I am Groot. Look, I could get paid millions of dollars. That was me saying as Groot that I decided that I wanted a piercing. Because that's what you have to do. You take the line and you have to find the emotion and the feeling, and all you can ever say is I am Groot. And you have to
he
find the
did
inflection.
write lines. I think Vin Diesel or whatever the fuck.
Yes.
Like he wrote lines for himself.
He got paid a lot of money. He thinks he's
Just
some
said,
kind
"I
of
am Groot."
star.
Well,
Yeah.
what about Pikachu?
Well, who voices Pikachu? Is
I
there
don't
some?
know, or like Bulbasaur.
Those are fun. Those are fine. There's nobody talking about those as critically like acclaimed performances.
I wonder if over time Pikachu has made the same amount as Vin Diesel being Groot.
I think there's probably been 60 different Pikachu voices,
Pikachu.
and nobody has known. So anyway, this the piercing
Yeah.
itself. I'm like watching the video.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
You don't know what?
I don't know. I don't know how you do it.
Oh. Well, especially like being pierced before and having tattoos, you know it's so temporary, it's like not that big of a deal. And I was scared. I was like, "Oh, I'm nervous."
Yeah, that's. I just mean the actual act of the piercing itself. Who gives a shit
Yeah.
about the actual piercing? Again, I support it. I need to say that to you.
No, I know you support it.
If it's something you wanted to do, I support it. I have no thoughts on anyone, and like the only thing I've ever tried to age restrict is skateboarding. I think anyone over 25 should not be skateboarding in any capacity.
Unless they've been skateboarding since they're like 12.
Sure.
Like you're not going to tell fucking Tony Hawk to stop skateboarding cuz he's too old.
I mean, if you're a professional and you're making some money, I know I'm extreme in saying that. People get enjoyment out of skateboarding. If they're doing it for recreation, great. But it is kind of weird when you see 30-year-olds trying to perform in front of crowds, or they're still doing that late 90s. The guy's got a camera, and it's like, all right, they're planning their moves. I'm going to run this way, and the camera's going to cross in front of you. And
No,
then you're
no,
gonna
no,
ollie,
because that
and
is
you're gonna-
someone. No, that's someone who's been doing it for a long time. If you're 37 and you're like, I'm gonna start skateboarding, then I'm like, someone 5150 this person.
And I think there should be a cutoff 25. And again, recreation, transportation. People who skateboard in New York as transportation. That to me,
crazy.
well, that's not okay. I'll give recreation. In this conversation, I'm handing over recreation. If you enjoy it, you're having fun, go for it. Transportation, you're showing off. I don't know what you're showing off, but it's not a good means of transportation.
It's
riding
not.
a skateboard around, and people do it. And then they get the longboard. I'm just cruising. Now I'm not even in a hurry. I don't even have a purpose.
But it's so hard to do that in New York.
This is a
like if you
casual.
have big long sidewalks like in Venice Beach or something, then that makes sense.
They do it
but-
in the street. They're in the middle of the street. And then
Ew, you're not a vehicle.
And now
Get
you've
the fuck
got-
out of the street.
no, they can't be on the sidewalk. The sidewalk's for pedestrians.
Oh.
Get off of our sidewalk is what we would say. What the hell are you
Yeah.
doing?
I hate those people.
They've got the new ones now that are electric, and the person just holds a remote control in their hand. So they stand on the skateboard. Oh, you've
That
got
seems
that.
scary.
You also have the unicycle. It doesn't have a seat on it, but it's like one wheel, and you stand on it. And these guys
I've
go.
seen that. That looks kind of cool. That looks like fun.
And maybe it's
Like one of those boards or whatever.
maybe
like a
it's
hoverboard.
fun, but the way these people cruise around on it, I always
It
feel
does
as though
seem
they're-
very showy.
yes,
Yeah.
it is for show. But anyway, the age.
If I liked that and I wanted to ride that around as my transportation as opposed to walking, I'd want to wear a shirt like, I'm not doing this for you to look at me. You know what I mean?
Well, you should do that in Crofton. I mean, if you rode around on a unicycle, I don't know what they're called. I don't want to call
Can't
the
be a
unicycle.
unawheel.
Well, it's a unicycle because it has one wheel, but it's not a traditional
Right.
pedal-powered seat, a bicycle seat unicycle.
Yeah.
But could you imagine? You quickly would be known as the crazy lady, the middle-aged lady who rides the unicycle and has got the nose piercing.
And sometimes has pink hair.
Yeah, so you're in a strange spot.
But I've always been this way.
No, not about where you are and doing those things, where you live.
Oh, I'm not that weird. Nah.
Maybe things have changed in the suburbs, and
I mean, I went to see my friends after I got it done, and one of them, who's from Ukraine, was like, "No, autumn, it's horrible. I hate it." I was like, "Okay."
did it make you feel bad? Did you question it after that?
No, and I thought like, "Oh, that's a fun reaction," because I think previously I would have been offended.
Offended? You've been crushed.
Well, yeah. I'd be really sad that they didn't like it, you know, or that I'm sorry that she didn't. She made such a fuss over not liking it. I'd be like, wow, what a bitch, you know. But I really was like, that's fine. You don't have to like it, you know. And I think I don't know whether that's my newfound mindset or
strength,
strength, yeah,
acceptance of who you are. Who are you?
Absolutely. I'm getting way more. I feel like on a pie chart, I got like maybe 20% of who I am. This isn't much, but
you're figuring it out on a Venn diagram. It used to be real Autumn, fake Autumn, and there was no overlap. But now you're saying there's some overlap.
Well, there was probably some overlap in all types of different circles in the Venn diagram. Like they would occur naturally, like a monkey writing Shakespeare.
It's very interesting because alt is maybe a little too extreme of an adjective, but to present it, a bit alternative, especially in the 90s, it's fitting in your style. But then you countered it with the most mainstream, socially accepted tropes.
Yeah, I know.
Like, this is what I'm doing. So which one's true? Where's the reality? Where were you? Why did you? Maybe you can be both. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know why. I don't know where. I don't know what path I followed that took me away from who I am. I probably was having kids. And a little fear too, because even, when Travis and I were just together, we weren't married. We went to see Pete Holmes. Pete Holmes is a comedian that I was really in love with. And we were at the first show. He had a second show right after. And I follow him on Twitter. And as we were going to bed, Pete Holmes and his opener, who he was friends with, tweeted that they were going to, I don't know, somewhere like on Ponce, somewhere on Ponce. And I was like, oh my God, like I wanted to go. And I ended up not going because I was like, well, we're already in bed. And I think back to that and I think, why didn't I go? Like I didn't have kids. It was a Friday or Saturday night. Like I have no responsibilities. What in the world? Why didn't I do that? That's insanity.
What's your answer?
I think it was like, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I was thinking it was a little bit of fear.
Of what? And there's going to cause trouble in the relationship?
No, not trouble. Just
a finger wag?
You know what? It could have been like I didn't feel comfortable going to that alone. I wouldn't have felt comfortable going to that alone, and to ask Travis to do it, and no matter what, I would feel like I was making him do it, and that like the time better deliver or else it's going to be my fault. You know what I mean? He never put that on me, but it was just my thought. You know what I mean? So it was like inconveniencing him, or the possible outcome of inconvenience was.
It's all made up. This whole thing is made up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So much of that stuff is made up.
Everything you just said, none of it was based in. It could have been possibly, maybe based in reality, but you never put anything to test, and you just said, "Okay, this is maybe." If I ask,
safest way was
if I ask, he'll either say no, and I don't want to go alone, or he'll say yes, but it'll be going out of obligation. Then I don't want him to go out of obligation because then I won't be able to enjoy it because he's not enjoying it, and then it'll strain the relationship.
Well, I mean, you understand that. You have thoughts like that, don't you?
Yeah, but I've never hit it. I'm not saying that you hit it.
I don't think I knew it. Like I said, I'm only just like this moment is when we're sort of piecing out maybe what that was.
Yeah, but that's the funny thing with you is there was real ignorance, I should say. I won't even say denial because denial is, you're aware of it and then you just pretend it's not real.
Yeah.
But there were times you like to fancy yourself. No, I'm completely laid back and cool. None of that stuff exists in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
It was there,
Yeah.
eating away
was.
like a parasite, slurping up the gray matter.
So then if you think about, all right, so that was a decision. And then lots of little decisions on, who knows, in these like tiny little ways throughout the next 10 years, and then all of a sudden I find myself just really unhappy.
Of course, because resentment grows, even if it's not the other person's fault. I mean, the truth is you need to know, and this sounds so cliche because, it is, but you need to know who you are and be comfortable and accepting of who you are, and then you can find a person that matches that. You have a real tendency, from what I know, to just adapt to the other person, even if they don't ask you to. Like I don't know of any people that were demanding or placed such an expectation on you. Like
No.
you need to now become the way I want you to be and live this kind of. You just took it upon yourself to do that, so you never were able to properly gauge things.
Yeah.
So, as you were saying, over time, it does take a toll.
Yeah.
Because if you're making all these decisions that go against things that you want to do, obviously there's always going to be some kind of compromise that has to come in play. But if you're balancing it with being yourself and getting other things that you want and need.
Because if in that moment, if he had said like, I really don't want to, I'm so tired, like I'm already in bed, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go. Whee! And then I would have had a time, I could do that now.
Yeah.
But if I did go without him, I would feel guilty that I had left.
Well, see, this is what you need. You need a person, and I don't know how he would have reacted. I'm not claiming that this is specific to Travis. I'm just saying in general, there are people that say, hey, do you want to go? No. Okay, I'm going to go on my own. What? And then they'll give you shit about that.
Right, and he would never do that. But it would, and I don't think that he would be able, we didn't have the type of relationship where he would be able to plug into me and be like, hey, I know that you might feel guilty, because I wasn't even aware of it. I know you might feel guilty, if I don't go and that you're out. I want you to have a blast. Go have fun. Come back whenever.
Do you think somewhere inside that would have bothered him? He seems
No,
like
I
a
don't
kind of
think
guy who
so.
likes to hang out at home,
No,
live a pretty normal life.
He's both. He really likes. It's funny, like sometimes he complains, or at least from what I remember, I don't know if he's changed or not, but he would complain that like he never gets contacted by any friends. He doesn't feel like he has friends that want to hang out and do things. And just recently, my friend Nico added him to this WhatsApp group of all of us. And Travis said, yeah, you guys text a lot. I'm like, what? You have to put something into something in order to get something out. You know what I mean? Like you have to interact with people who want to be your friends in order to like be invited and called to do things. You can't just be like, oh, you guys text a lot. This is annoying.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then like, why doesn't anybody text me?
I wonder how it really would have matched if you were yourself. I think
I think I was myself at first. I'm sure
I
I
think
was
you're-
more of myself.
Oh, you're a bit
But
exciting.
that's not true, because listen, I was with people like back to back to back, and so I never really had time to like reset and figure out, who I was. I just kept going. So I'm sure I did that same sort of behavior with Wade, Tim,
Yeah, who else?
well, John.
No. Who else? Same sort of behavior. You can lump me into that same sort of behavior.
Oh,
Well, the whole time I was like, just be yourself. Do whatever you want to do. At least you didn't have a good grasp of it yet.
I couldn't. Yeah, I didn't have it. I was talking about people previously, not after.
Oh, well, that's all I ever was pushing for. I was like, I don't know. Do whatever.
And to me, it's like, at that time, I was like, I don't know. Okay.
Well,
That's like it's like my leg hasn't grown back yet. And you're like, walk. Like, I can't.
no,
Okay,
I understand that. But you present things very convincingly. You're like, I get it. I understand it. I'm ready. And yeah, clearly you weren't. And that's not a negative thing. I bought into it thinking, yeah, of course you're going to go where you're ready. And now it's clear as day. It's like, no way. Should have been
No.
6-year gap in between.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You don't have to. I don't bring this up for any kind of apology.
I know,
like
but
if anything, our relationship prepped me to better express things I wanted, and I made clear the things I needed, and
yeah.
it was quick moving on into the relationship with Christina, and then living with someone so fucking quickly. Like I think about that, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that was fast. But it's like I don't know. I just the preparation had been done. I had a good idea. I was confident, and obviously there's still struggles, and I overthink, and there's still anxieties that come into play. But there was the recognition that, hey, this person gets it. We operate similarly. I can actually be myself. This is part of me being myself, this overthinking, while I still want to continue to work on it so it doesn't consume things. It's also not something that I feel as though I can't put out there. And that goes a long way. So, you apologize, but you don't need to. And I don't bring any of this up. Everyone's just trying to figure their own shit out. That's ultimately what it is. And
I know you're never bringing something up in order for me to like apologize, but it still is like, ugh, sorry. It sucks.
Well, you get wrapped up in these things too, and you can't think clearly. Because the truth is, if I was completely logical, that would have been pretty apparent. It's like, give it some space.
Yeah.
Take some time. No way. No fucking way. Not right now. But, that's very difficult to do. Much easier said than done.
Yeah.
So that's,
saying that I have like 20% of myself sort of figured out, I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know. It feels like maybe all of this, like in lots of different categories, maybe 20% maximum of lots of different things. But I think I'm getting to know myself weirdly, in a lot of ways. Like the other day, I was like having some anxiety, and I felt like restless, and I wanted to drink, and I was going to go for that drink just to like sort of calm down. And I thought, no, wait a minute. So I just started walking around my apartment in like loops and talking to myself. I know that sounds crazy, but it really was like, I was talking to myself like, what's going on? What are you feeling? What is that? Why are you feeling that way? Is this thought you're having? That's that thought. What is that? You know what I mean? And like, just like exorcising this feeling that started as a feeling inside my body. And then I connected it with something I had been thinking about. And I just thought that was really interesting. And I thought, Autumn, good job. Look at how you're doing. You're learning yourself.
I mean, I understand making noises when you're feeling anxious and your back is breaking out in acne because you have such stress going on up in the middle of the night, cutting your hair at 3 a.m. There's nothing else to do because there's such anxiety a brewing. But it's better than drinking and boozing and escaping. Like, obviously, there's a place for that. It's always moderation. But the moment it starts being done too much, then, as you know, it's like pointless to say because this is not news. You have a good grasp on that. I just feel like you would be a person, like, I know why you live where you live. If you didn't have kids, where would you live? Like, it doesn't have to be a specific place, but you'd be in a city, right?
Yeah, probably in like a cute part of a city. Do you know what I mean? Like not like the nitty gritty city, but like neighborhoody, like Candler Park.
Yeah,
kind of little bitty, something cutesy,
and
not that small, but
then you'd venture into the gritty,
or like little
parts.
5 Points, something. You know what I mean?
Like
around there.
I think that somewhere inside, like you going to sex parties and orgies and stuff, is in order. Am I wrong about that?
What?
Am I wrong about that?
Sex parties?
Yeah, I feel as though there's part of you that could get into that. Like it's done. It's done safe.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
It just,
are you like a psychic right now?
No. Why are you going? Is that
no? But I had recently had that thought. I'm like, I wonder what's out there like that. Not that I don't want I don't want to participate in something like that.
I think you do, or you would
Not
you
not
could-
with like a gross like suburb.
no,
know, those, like,
that's
suburb swingers.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. City, like I could
Yeah.
see you, and I'm not trying to tell you what you want and don't want to do, but when you say you don't want to, I think that if you understood the way it worked and found the right one, and then once you got comfortable with it, it'd be totally something you were into, and you would continue to do it.
What is making you say that?
It's just I don't know. It's who you are.
Interesting.
It's just that's been there.
Yeah. For sure.
It seems like there's a lot of repression of sorts.
Yeah. There has been. I don't
And-
know. I think again because I couldn't ask for things that I needed in small ways.
A threesome.
So
That's what you needed.
well, I had a threesome when I was a kid.
I know, but trading partners. That's what you
Yeah.
needed. Would you be into that?
I don't know. I can't say.
Yeah, that's a difficult one.
Yeah, that's different. But I think no, there's I haven't been able, like I said, I haven't been able to ask for or even recognize things that I needed out of myself, let alone out of a relationship, and then let alone out of sex. So like there were things that I maybe wanted, but am afraid to ask for.
Damn, butt sex.
Nah. I mean, a little is fine. Not like sex part, but just like a little butt is fun. I really like when someone else is enjoying the thing.
Mhm.
And I'm not, it's not something that like I want, like, yes, I love that. Do you know what I mean? It's more like, oh, he loves that. And I love that he's loving that. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So that's fine with butt stuff, but not, I don't want to have like anal sex, like where you have to like prep yourself,
I
and,
was-
like clean out your butt.
Yes, I understand. It was a
A
throwaway.
lot of prep.
It is if it's done properly. Some people don't care. Like get right into it. They like the filth and the mess.
And I don't know. I don't know if I'd be comfortable with like, and after you have kids, like your butthole's sensitive.
Okay.
I mean, you get hemorrhoids easy.
I did not know this, that your butthole became sensitive after kids were born. But anyway, I don't know. The reason I brought this up, and well, not butt sex, but in general.
Yeah. Sex stuff.
Yeah, I feel as though there's, you said you're afraid to ask for things or admit things. I always just sensed that there's that part of it. Like
Yeah.
in living where you live, there's not such access to these things,
Yeah. Interesting.
which is
You're
fine.
Not wrong.
It's fine. You live where you live, I guess. I know you've grown to like it.
Yeah. I there's a lot, it's a good marriage between where I was and where I am now. It's like, it's still it's a safe place to be. Where I can land in safety, which is my neighborhood and my friends and my home and whatever, but I still have some like freedom to explore, myself, get a nose piercing, go out
Yeah.
go drinking,
Yeah, when we dated,
I'm not drinking nearly as much as I was, by the way, which is really noticeable and like notable about like where I was like a year ago.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's already been a year
Yeah.
since that one episode, the saddest episode ever in the history of One Topic.
So sad.
My God. Yeah.
I know. Man, I remember I would scream at you. Remember, I would just yell at you.
About what?
You would hurt my feelings, or something would happen, and I would get so mad, and you would shut down, and I'd be freaking out.
What are you talking about?
Remember, usually off like, before we even start the show, something would happen, and we would get in this huge thing. And I was yelling at you, and then once I started to freak out, you would calm down, and you would like be able to handle it.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I feel as though there was this weird thing with me where I felt
Yeah.
like I did my job because you hate anger so much and you avoid it so much that if I could push you to the point where you were angry, like I didn't want to be mean with the anger and continue escalating
You're just
anger.
trying to get like a real response.
Yeah, it's like, there, look, everything's fine. You're pissed now. You're yelling, and I'm not yelling back.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to attack you. I'm not abandoning. Look at this. See? It's fine.
That's real. That's true. That's really true.
That's probably why I calmed down. I was like, okay. Thank God. Thank you for being. I think, as I've said before, there was instances where I just wanted to shake you because it was clear as day. Whatever was being talked about and discussed, you were wrong, like about yourself.
Well, lying to myself
Yes.
or fooling myself.
Yeah. And it was just, I wanted to shake you. And if there was ever an instance where I got you to realize whatever it was you weren't realizing, it's like, okay, good. We're there. It was very frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, but there were times like I appreciate that in hindsight, but there were times where it's like, I don't want you to be that person,
Well,
But also, I also wanted to avoid those feelings too, because it's not crazy to want to avoid anger, but for me, anger or being angry at someone, can be like a murder weapon. You know what I mean? Like,
well, anger's not good all the time. Like being angry
yeah,
in its purest sense is reactionary. Something has angered you, and that's fine. That's allowed. Obviously, anger also can be representative of a bunch of other feelings that have never been processed, and they just come out in one of the simplest emotions, which is anger. And once you're at that point, it's a little more problematic. And people certainly do weaponize anger. And when people get angry, sometimes they don't know when to stop and they push things, and then things can get really fucking nasty. And, that's not anger itself. It's a problem with the person. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
well, because anger really is sadness, right?
Not always. It's not always sadness. Something can just make you angry.
Right, but why did
someone
it make you
treats
angry? It was because it hurt you.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I mean. Like the root of it is sadness.
But it's not a bad thing, ultimately.
Yeah.
It can be, like anything.
Right. And what, I guess what I was experiencing with you was, I don't know. Yeah, you made me really mad.
Well,
And I would yell at you about it, and I've never spoken to anyone the way that I've spoken to you.
which wasn't even,
Which you felt like was like no big deal.
no, because there are people in the past, like I don't put up with it if someone's angry and they say something hurtful for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Like I was dating someone previously and they said, fuck you in the middle of an argument. That wasn't even that big of a deal, but it was like a really nasty fuck you. And I said, it's like, I'm not putting up with that. That's not allowed. You can't just put that out there. Because to me, I don't know if saying that with malice is really like a knife. It's like, fuck you.
Well, and it seems like you were trying to communicate maybe and argue in a way that was for you maybe, seemingly productive at some point, but then just the fuck you is like, I don't want to argue with you. I'm not going to even respect you enough to finish this. Just fuck you.
Like I left. I was like, I'm walking out. This is done. This conversation, at least. Relationship was done, not long after, I guess. But anyway, I don't know. Going back to the nose piercing and whatever, you're not having a midlife crisis, but you're thinking you're having a midlife, or you thought about if you're having a midlife crisis. I was going to say, one of the things when we were dating, me being in New York, obviously I like New York. I love New York. But I always had this idea of you being here and just doing whatever the fuck you wanted, like figuring out your life. Like I think it's a place to figure out who you are. It allows the flexibility and it supports you, meaning people, in doing that.
Right.
And
like your people aren't as difficult to find.
well, I mean, you're always going to find something. Yeah. Whoever your people are, if you know who they are, you're going to find them.
I think they'll,
That sex club is right down the street.
right. I think that, you're probably right in that way, but I didn't have the setup to be able to do that.
No,
You
I
know?
mean, yeah, it's difficult.
Right. And I don't begrudge the setup I have, like I've got kids and I've got my family here, and I don't mind. I don't mind. It's an obligation I'm happy to be under, but yeah, having to sacrifice that to get to New York was too much for me.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And yeah, so
There was a lot logistically that would never work.
so
And again, going back to logic, it was
Yeah.
like, hey, but I'm trying to tie it in again to what we're talking about. People think that approaching 40, getting a divorce, really changing your life, it can be reactionary. It can be done impulsively. And, at least as far as my part in it, I thought things through to the point, even if there is some, blindness, where it's like, let's make sure none of that's happening on my end. I can't control what you were doing, but it's like, if this is going to move forward, it's going to be, based in some kind of belief that it's worthwhile, because it's a big change. And I surely never wanted to push towards, something that was impulsive on your end. And I'm not saying that you were impulsive in it, but I'm just saying that my part of it, in that part of your life, and then these big changes that are happening in your life and continue to happen, I tried to be mindful of that.
yeah.
You said you did too, and it seems like in your reflection that you've come to the conclusion that you were, unless you do think it was just something that you did reactionary to blow things up. I mean, I also, if it turns out to be you wanted out of a marriage because there was something that you couldn't articulate and you were feeling and you weren't actually, yourself, and you needed something else and something that you couldn't get.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to be there and you used me to make it easier. That's fine. I'm okay with that at this point.
Well, I wouldn't put it so much as I used you.
I know that sounds like, a nasty thing. Like you made that
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah, like I'll use this chump.
But if that's what it turned out to be, because it is strange the way things came together at that point
Yeah.
in your life. And if that's what it was.
I mean, I'm not proud of that, but I mean, being with you helped me through a lot of that. But it did put so much strain on everything. It made things so hard. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, it's going to
I
make
wish
things. What's that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of wish sometimes that we hadn't, just because it's fine now, but it was, and I guess I only wish that we hadn't done it only because it was so difficult, but difficult things make you stronger and smarter, and it teaches you something. And the fact that we're still friends after, like it, again, like I was saying about me screaming at you and us arguing and you staying through it and sort of showing me that, like, see, you can be mad and we can be mad at each other and it's okay. It doesn't feel okay, but it's okay. Yeah, just like it teaches you something. But
I mean, I surely got something out of it. And again, it,
Yeah.
prepared me and helped me better understand the things that I needed and, set me up for the relationship I'm in now. And it is weird because I guess the fact that it, again, came so quickly after, because I was at the point where it's like, my whole history was just rushing into things, meeting someone and falling into this trap, this idea of the relationship's going to be the thing that forces me to change. And that's why I kept looking for a relationship, thinking if it's the right person, then it's going to force me to change. And then it just so happened that I was in the spot where I was like, no, that's not the way it works. And I'm not going to get into another relationship unless, I'm in a spot where I've already changed and now I know what will work and what won't work. And then suddenly it's like, oh, what the fuck? Here's this thing that's so soon presenting itself where it was pretty clear to me that it could work. And, if it were the wrong decision, especially moving in so quickly, I'd be fucking freaking out and it would already be over. Like I would have.
With Christina, you're saying?
Yeah. With Christina. It would have, there's no way I would have been able to deal with it. I would have woken up and looked over and like, what the fuck? How did I get here?
Yeah.
How did this happen? And that, that hasn't happened. So, it wasn't.
Not that that's your only metric.
No, it's not my only metric though, but me never having lived with a person I was dating in my life and really enjoying my own space and my own time and my own company and feeling like dating someone quite often was an imposition on that. I know, totally backwards way to approach relationships, but having that be my baseline for so long and then suddenly being in a relationship where the person is around a lot because you live together, and not kicking and screaming and looking for a way out. There was preparation that needed to happen before I was in a spot. And all right, you used me, I used you. The end.
Okay. Well, I think that I'm closer to how you felt, where you feel like dating someone is a little bit of an inconvenience. Like having a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the sort of like we're supposed to see each other this many times. I don't want to. I like that. That makes me feel annoyed.
Yeah.
So I'm there a little bit. So, and when you would say that stuff before, I never understood it.
Well, it just becomes formulaic and an obligation at that point. Like we're just doing it here. It's set up this way. Like the truth is, I don't know. Maybe for me, for a relationship to work, I had to live with the person because then some of that stuff falls away.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like if it were set up, it's like, okay, we'll see each other every Tuesday and every Saturday. And I don't know, maybe that wouldn't have worked. But yeah, that was my thing with Valentine's Day or holidays where there's an obligation attached to it. It's like, I'm not opposed to doing something nice or expressing love or gratitude and, letting the person know that you're grateful and don't take them for granted. But it's like the night that everyone else is fucking doing it. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're just doing this now because we're supposed to. What the fuck?
It's like watered down.
Yeah.
Instead of an extract.
So I'd prefer not to do it because it just...
Yeah, I get it.
And I can't fake it. And I've dated people where they want that. Like, okay, well, it means something to me. And it's not wrong if it means something to the other person to go out on Valentine's Day. That's special to them because they don't view it the same way. But then, you have to realize that there are different ways of viewing things, and that's a incompatibility issue.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I don't know how you sort that out, but
I don't think you can. I think at that point, it's like we shouldn't date. Not based on Valentine's Day alone, but that's representative of a bigger thing and the approach.
Yeah. That's true. And if it was like only that one thing, I think that you would be more inclined to be like, all right, I'll take you out on Valentine's Day. But if it's like a bunch of other things that you're already feeling and you're waking up next to them saying, oh shit, how did I get, you know what I mean? Then you're like, I'm not going to take you out.
Yeah, possibly. Valentine's Day, though, my God, you have to fight with the crowds. And
why, though? Why do they don't get it?
So many people. Anyway, you're not having midlife crisis. You got a piercing because you wanted it.
Yeah. It's funny, though, on paper, like if you write down all the things, like turning 40 this year, got a nose piercing, dyeing her hair pink sometimes, talking to Greg about sex clubs, like... On paper, it feels very like, let's keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, but I think, again, those were things and are things that are representative of you. None of that's surprising. That is who you are. And for it to be coming out now because it was repressed for a while, it's like you said, it's a return instead of an invention. It's like, oh, I'm starting to do these things for the first time in my life.
Well, thanks. This was my therapy. You know, I realized I missed my therapy appointment on the 21st. I just forgot.
Well, there it is.
And the 4th was supposed to be our 2-week, but she didn't get in touch with me, so I gotta. This was my therapy session.
She's
today.
ditched you.
Yeah, she's like, well, if you don't show up, then you just are on your own.
It's turned into a long episode.
It did. It was good. I liked it.
People are gonna shy away from it. Like, I don't have.
No,
an
it's
hour.
good because it's made up for the Christmas week episode.
Oh, the one you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was me just blah 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 blah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Like and subscribe, rate and review. I'll put up the video of my nose getting pierced on our Facebook page.
Trying to get back to Eric.
That's fine. I don't care. Yes, please use our code OneTopic15 at hoffandpepper.com. You can get some really great hot sauce made in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Hoffandpepper.com. Use the code OneTopic15. Okay, thanks. Bye.